All right. We're doing our Friday live that we're trying to do around noon Pacific. And we usually are having conversations around what happens during our coffee talk meetings for many of those of you that can't make it. This is kind of to give you some highlights around things. And this morning, we did have some really interesting conversations around co parenting through the holidays, particularly when it's your first set of holidays that you're going through. And we are very fortunate today to also have Tamar Burris with us, who is a co parenting expert and author, and has a lot of experience having these conversations. So I thought it's amazing that the timing worked out because it's definitely, we're at December 15th and it's a burning topic amongst all of us getting organized, with our kids and managing all the school schedules and then the holidays and navigating that with exes or soon to be exes is tough. So I appreciate you being here with Jody and me today.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to be here. Yeah, the holidays, I mean, we all know the holidays are stressful no matter what, whether you're regular parenting, co-parenting, just in general, the travel, the money, the family, all of it. So it just heightens all of the issues that happen throughout the year with co-parenting. I feel like it just makes it harder.
Oh, 100%. I think the other component that many people in our coffee talk are also going through a divorce. So it's the divorce world and the what's going on throughout the year is now you're going through a divorce through the holidays, through all of this. It's a lot going on. So sending out huge hugs to all of you facing these challenges. I do think there are some, good practices that Tamar, you and I have had so many conversations over the last couple of years around this topic, and I think it would be awesome for you to sort of share some of your thoughts around how do you navigate this under and everyone has unique circumstances as well. So um
Yeah. Yeah, everyone has unique circumstances. And the one thing I will start out by saying is because a lot of the people that are here with us and who are looking for help right now are going through the divorce, I would say to all of you, this is your first time through this. Be gentle on yourself and know that things can change over time, but you're going to be the most raw this year, right? But if you can, one of the beautiful things is if you're going through divorce at this time, really pay attention to what works for you and what works for your family and what doesn't work for you this year, because you're going to be creating your parenting plan. So if you can think about, did it work to split the day? Would we like to do it this way? What was helpful for our kids this year? So you can think about putting that into your parenting plan for the holidays to come. Because a lot of times we'll create a parenting plan and we have these ideas about what holidays should look like, and then we get through them the first couple of years and we're like, that really doesn't work for us. And if you're in a high conflict type of situation, it's really difficult to change it at that point.
That is such great advice. And I think even just parenting plans in general should become or be fluid because our kids get older and circumstances change, significant others come in, different traditions. I think flexibility to the extent you can is huge. But your advice about the high conflict part is also like duly noted because it is very difficult down the road to change it when you are in a high conflict situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think particularly the holidays, we have all these ideas of traditions and things that we've done and how we want it to look for our families. And we really have to keep in mind what works best for our kids, not necessarily what we want to happen, but what's really best for them. Because I work with a lot of people who wind up splitting things in kind of funky ways for the holidays, specifically because they want to have family time with their parents or, a party that they always attend or whatever. And then the other side wants this or that, and you wind up moving these kids back and forth and shuttling them through like odd hours and things that are really hard on the children, and that makes for a hard holiday season. So really keeping in mind what's working best for your kids and keeping it as stress free for them is what should be utmost importance.
I really
Yeah.
love that. And I was thinking the key of the parenting plan, it's so nice because then you have a roadmap, right? Without having that, it can get all willy-nilly. It's last minute decisions are being made. You're already under a lot of stress during this time and trying to pull those type of decisions out of your hat. Like even for example, I think a good example today was on Coffee Talk. Heather, we were talking about this earlier, is one of our members was talking about, she's in the middle of this divorce and her ex asked her to buy the presents for the kids and not only buy them, ship them to him so he can distribute. And I mean, that's throwing her into a tailspin. Like, she's like, what do I do about, am I going to do that? I will do it. It'll be easier, but just not even knowing that that was going to happen. Like, that's now part of something she has to do and it's on her plate and she's already feeling all the feels, all the emotion. I remember when my first Christmas, I wanted my divorce and I felt very free when I got it. But when Christmas hit, I missed my family traditions. I missed all those traditions. I was like, we don't have those anymore. So I had all that nostalgia going through that. My children were older, so I didn't have to deal with that part of it, but I did have to deal with all of those feelings that were coming in. And I was mourning the loss of all those traditions that I was going to have to make new ones, but I would never have those traditions again.
Yeah, I think the tradition thing is a huge one, and it's recognizing that it doesn't always have to be on that actual day. I think I was, working with a client this week, and he had the best insight. His ex wanted to split Christmas Eve, and then midday Christmas, the little girl needed to go back and forth to the other person. And he goes, that's great for her. She's going to sit in the car for 3 hours and on Christmas Day. And she's like, he goes, this isn't ideal for her. Like, and people lose sight of that when they're trying to split that Christmas Eve and Christmas time. And it also falls sometimes in the middle of like a week-long break and people want to travel. And I think where I've seen a lot of success, and Tamar, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too, is that you can move Christmas around. Like, hey, it's similar to like a Thanksgiving. You do Thanksgiving the Saturday before rather than it being on Thanksgiving Day. And you just have to kind of tweak things. Like, we're going to do Christmas the weekend before or the weekend after, or it's going to be around New Year's. Like, my ex has my kids always on New Year's Eve. I always have Christmas. So that's, we have to manage our traditions differently. And, I'd like your thoughts on that, Tamar.
No, absolutely. That's 100% correct. And I think, that same goes for Halloween, same goes for birthdays, same goes for, any kind of a day that you find special. You can celebrate any day. I try and tell my clients, like, it's just a Tuesday or it's Christmas. I mean, it can be any day of the year. You want to make it a celebration, and your kids will be excited about that. They get 2 Christmases, great. They want to have, you have one on the 20th. You do all the things you want to do, even if it's with extended family. Invite them for that day rather than for the Christmas day if your ex has them on the Christmas day. And your client, that's fantastic, because that's one of the things that I think parents get really hung up on, is making sure they have a fair amount of time, making sure everyone sees the kids for the holiday. But yeah, then your kids are stuck in the car and they hate Christmas. They don't want to do it anymore, and then transition days, we know, are always hard anyway. And now we've made transition day on a holiday, and back and forth on Christmas. It's awful. So yeah, the first time that you have to make Christmas on the 19th or on the 30th or whatever, it can feel really hard in your heart. And you're like, this sucks, and this is not what I want, and this is not Christmas, and no one else is celebrating this day. But you do it again, and you do it again. And really, by the second or third time, you've got it down. And it is exactly the same on a different day. It really is. It's still about having the family together. You can do all of your traditions. You can do whatever you'd like. You can celebrate it however you want, and you have that freedom and flexibility through the whole day is your holiday. And it's just as special. When we're adults, right, we don't look back and remember specific things, like exactly what present we got when, and what day we did what on, but they'll remember the holiday traditions. They'll remember around Christmas time, we did this special thing with mom, and we did this special thing with dad. And that's what you want. You want to build in those memories, and those memories can happen on any day.
And it's how they feel is what matters, right? I mean, that's the memory is around the feelings. And so if there's conflict around it or a lot of movement, that's not going to be amazing for them.
Right.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, Tamar, do you think then around this, I'm just thinking like extended family, right? So for mitigating that, for dealing with the mom that says, we always have Christmas here and he can just deal with it, whatever you are getting, like, is it just the comeback to these types of pushes that you're going to get from external family? Is this where you just say, we're doing our best to keep the children we're doing the best for the children. It's a lot to transfer them back and forth. I mean, I feel like that's what people are dealing with, the guilt of them getting pressure from an in-law and pressure from this side. And then, dealing with the co-parent and then trying to make it the best for the kids. I'd love to figure out like language, help them with language that they can say to these people so they don't feel so guilty and overwhelmed.
Mm. Well, the guilt you have to work with within yourself anyway. You have to remind yourself you're doing the best you can, and this is for your kids. And you just have to keep repeating whatever mantra you need in the mirror, like doing the best I can, this is for the kids, or whatever statement you come up with. But when you're actually interacting with the mom or the grandparents or whoever it is who's kind of from the exterior doing that to you, less is more. It's kind of like when you're dealing with a high conflict co-parent. Don't give a lot of explanation and a lot of excuses, because they'll just keep coming at you. You need to shut them down with one or two statements. We're divorced and this is how we're doing it now. This is what works best for our family. And just keep repeating that same line, whatever line works for you. This is what works best for our family. This is what works best for our kids' schedule. We have a divorced family and this is how it is now. Whatever the statement is, you just keep repeating that one. Don't give them a lot of fuel about, well, this is how we've worked out the schedule and they have to go to dad, because then they'll just keep coming at you. What if we do it this way? What if it's like anything with those external family members. You just have to remind them that they're not in charge. They don't get a say. This is how it is.
Yeah, it's such good advice. It's funny. One of the things I sort of started looking at was, as we get older, I feel like holidays are always migrating. So like, I got out of college, my parents got divorced. Then I was like trying to bounce between their houses. Then I got married. And then it was like trying to deal with my in-laws. And then, and now I have adult stepchildren, and they are, they're like, okay, well, we'll do Christmas Eve with you guys and then Christmas Day with her family, right? The fiance's family. So you're always kind of dealing with these twists and turns. And I think, when you kind of step back and look at the broad spectrum of life, the divorce part of it is just one of those other kind of nuances that happens with the holidays. And it's, I think I like that idea of the energy that you're putting around the time that's spent to mark the holiday, rather than it needing to be specifically on, December 25th, for using Christmas as an example, is really important. And I also want to honor, though, it is really hard. Those first years and the breaking of those traditions are hard. I mean, my mom still talks about how sad she is that we're not local. So I just, those are, and be gentle on yourself. And if this is a year that you don't have your children for potentially the first time, reach out to your community. People want to be around people. Just say, I'm alone this year. Can I come hang out at your house?
Absolutely. I think that's super important that you honor your own needs and you really sit with yourself for a minute and think about what those are. I know for me, when I'm alone at the holidays, I don't actually like to go to family events. I don't really want to be around the kids. I want to do something that's really just an adult activity. And so that's the time that I reach out to my other single parent friends who don't have their kids with them, or just single friends who don't, or married friends who don't have kids, because I just don't really want to be around the kids and experience that without my children. But there's plenty to do. There's always like holiday yoga classes, or there's music to go see, or there's you can take yourself on a little weekend vacation to a spa or wherever, and go hiking. There's always events that might fit your needs, and maybe you do want to be around families, and that's fine. But yeah, absolutely reach out and make some plans that fit for you, because this is your time. And it's a little sad sometimes to be at home alone during all of it. So
yeah, I think that's great. Movies. I used to go to a movie when I wasn't around my kids. We would go to, I have a single cousin, and we'd always go to a movie like Christmas Eve. It was fun. Yeah. Good time.
Well, I love that. Well, thank you, Tamar, for being with us today. And we're wishing everyone happy holidays, safe holidays, sending you guys big love for this time, and big hugs for moving through this time of year. It's definitely, it's like you said at the beginning, Tamar, it's tough even when you're not facing all of this. Can be a very stressful time of year for many of us.
Right. And if you happen to be free next Friday, we have our coffee talk right before the holidays are gonna launch, you might be off work, jump on 9 a.m. Pacific Standard, noon Eastern Standard Time. There's no charge to it. You just need to sign up at split.fyi.com and go to our support tab and you'll find Coffee Talk. And we'd love to see you there. It's a really good time to have that community right before you go into the holidays.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome.
Thanks, Tamar.
All right. Thank you.
This is great. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.